Hey everyone, we have a really special video for you today, and this is going to be part of a new series we're bringing out. It's maintenance that you can do yourself for your van or home. So basically today is going to be 5 things that you can check that are going to increase the longevity of your van, and they're very, very easy things to check. So first thing we're going to do is look under the hood. So we're going to pop the latch and open this up. Okay, so now that the hood is open, we've got our diesel Mercedes motor here. You can see that I actually brought my Toyota over. That's a gasoline powered vehicle. So I kind of want to show you a few things with both. The first thing out of the 5 we're going to check is oil. So first thing you should do, grab yourself a little dirty rag. I keep this in my truck at all times because I'm always checking fluids. We also keep one in the van, and we're going to be using this a lot. So you're going to want to find your dipstick for your oil. It's most likely going to be colored red or orange with a little pull. This one's at the front here. Sometimes they're in the back, the sides. You'll find it. Pull that baby up. It's a long metal stick. Give it a wipe off at first because you're going to want to clean it to get a good reading. Pop it back in, slide it all the way down until it hits in. Pull it back up immediately. And you can see here, we've got our reading. So that oil level is right between those 2 lines, your maximum and your minimum. That's where you want it to be. If it's a little higher, a little low, that's okay. Basically, this one has 2 plastic tabs on the metal to show you. Some of them are grooved in on the metal, etched in saying max and minimum. This is a really good reading. As you can see, that oil's a little bit black. That's because this is a diesel vehicle and their oil gets very black very quickly. It's okay. We change this oil a lot. It's good oil. We're going to step over to the 4Runner now, and we're going to check its gas-powered oil. So you can see here, once again, colored tab right at the front of the vehicle. I'm going to pull it up, clean it off, put it back in, then pull it out immediately, and you can see it's amber colored. This one's a little bit low right now. I can see that I need to fill it a bit. That wouldn't be much. That'd be like a couple hundred milliliters, not very much. You can see it's a very amber color. It's clean. I cleaned this oil about, I don't know, 2,000 kilometers ago. But you can see between a gas vehicle and a diesel vehicle, there's a big color change. There might even be a lot of fluid in the diesel one compared to this one. This one's about 5 liters of oil. We're going to show you that later, how to change your oil in our coming up videos. So next thing we're going to check is our radiator. So we're going to step back over to the van. Alrighty, so one thing I forgot to mention is that we've parked the van and the Toyota on level ground. We did that so that we had a really accurate reading of not only the oil level, but other fluids in the vehicle. So the next thing we're going to check is radiator fluid, also known as antifreeze or coolant. This is what cools your engine down. One thing I want to say is make sure that your engine is nice and cool. Do not open your coolant check without the engine being cool. Those gases are hot and vaporized most likely, and they'll be pressurized and shoot up, maybe even possibly burning your hand. So just be careful, make sure your engine is cool. So this is our area for checking the coolant. What we do is we push down, we slide it, and we open that baby up. So this is going to be really difficult for the camera to see, but on the inside is fluid. This is the reservoir that holds the coolant, and that radiator is right beneath it, and that is also full. You want to make sure that you can see fluid in your reservoir. In most cases, when you look in with a little flashlight, you'll see a maximum and a minimum line. You want to be somewhere in between those lines. And you want to be able to see fluid in there. In the case of my 4Runner, there's no max and minimum line on the inside. There is only, can you see coolant or not? So I keep it at this kind of medium level where I can just see the coolant in there. Also, if you don't have any coolant in here, make sure you're buying the right color or brand of coolant for your vehicle when you go to fill it up. So in the Mercedes case, this is blue coolant. You don't want to mix colors. If you go buy red and you notice that this old stuff was blue, do not pour it in. Those can congeal and they're not very good for your engine. Later on, we're also going to be showing you how to change your coolant and stuff like that as well. So we'll get to that later in time. So we've checked our coolant. We know that we're at a good level. We're just going to pop this back on. This will go for both your diesel and your gas vehicles. All vehicles have coolant reservoirs. Next thing we're going to check is the air filter. So over here on the Mercedes is our air box. This is what houses the air filter. Basically, your engine is sucking in air, and you don't want dust and dirt and stuff like that to go in your engine and combust. You can ruin your engine. So all vehicles come with an air filter. Earlier in vehicle history, they were filters that were cleaned with oil, so there's a lot more space for air to get through. You know, lots of air can come into the combustion chambers. In the case of this Mercedes model, it's a turbocharged diesel engine, which is a little bit more of a performance engine, so it wants to be fed a lot of air. That's why we went with a K&N style filter. Those are really high flow air filters, and they're safe for vehicles like this. In the case of the 4Runner, it's not a high performance engine. It's just a V6, it's low power, and I use a paper air filter in that. So I'm going to show you the differences in just a second when we pull them both out. Alrighty, so as you can see, it's a really hot day today. Little Bella is hiding under the van in the nice cool shade, and she's loving it. Make sure you give us a thumbs up if you like this video and you like what you're seeing. It's all useful stuff that'll keep your van running for a long time. So we got the air filter out. It's a little bit like playing with Tetris on your diesel engine because Mercedes really compacts them in there. I just took the air box off. Now is a good time to look in the bottom of the air box and see if there's any dirt and grime getting past the filter. So this is the reusable K&N air filter. This is what we use on the engine, like I said, because it's a lot more airflow. It's good for these engines. So you can see it's a little bit dirty. That's just oil and grime. So we're gonna clean this off, and we're gonna clean it with the oil cleaner, and we're gonna let it dry so that no oil gets sucked into the engine after it. Logan has a really cool tip, which is keep your old paper filter if you're switching to this, because in the time that's drying and you need to go somewhere, pop that paper in, go for your drive, you'll be okay, come back, swap your baby in later. So remember, this is the reusable. Pop that there for now. We're gonna step over to the Toyota. This is my air box right here. It's really easy to get to compared to the Sprinter. And this is my paper air filter. You can see it's a little bit dirty. You can tell because the backside is nice and clean. That's good. This isn't a really bad air filter, but you do want to change it. I'm going to change mine right now with a brand new Fram paper filter. So you can see that is much cleaner than that. Here's another hot tip. It's just like Logan's. I keep my old paper filter for when I know I'm going to be driving on dirt roads, especially behind another vehicle for a long period of time. If we're riding trails or something like that, this can catch all the dirt and grime I want. It's not going to affect the breathability of the engine that much, so it doesn't matter to me. I'll keep that for trails, and I'll keep this for highway and regular use. And that way you can keep this on a little bit longer. So we're going to pop this one back in there. Super easy fix. That'll be for your gasoline V8s. You know, it's okay to use paper, it's okay to use reusable, whatever you like, but make it your own choice. I'm going to throw that one back in there. And we're going to step back over here. Like I said, we're going to clean this up, we'll pop it back in, and we'll go to our next tip. Okay, so our next tip is something that you see a lot at nighttime driving around that people aren't doing, and that's checking your driving lights. That is your headlights, your turn signals, your brake lights, your brake turn signals. You want to make sure that you have those lights changed out when they burn out, because they're very, very important. Not only is it illegal in most states and provinces, if not all states and provinces, to have them burnt out, but you can't really see. People can't see you, they can't tell where you're going. So we're gonna make sure that all these lights are working. How we're gonna do this, we're just gonna turn on the van, not even like full power, just to the on part, We're gonna turn on the lights, turn on the signals, make sure everything is working. Okay, so our headlights are working, our turn signals are working, our side markers are working. We unfortunately lost a side marker cap on the highway recently. Got to order another new one of those. We're gonna go to the back. You can see our rear turn signals are working, right and left. And Logan is going to stay back here. She's gonna check if the brake lights are working when I press the pedal.
Good.
So you just kind of want to check that. Make sure they're working because they're very, very important for your vehicle and they're overlooked as well. Alrighty, so last on our list, which is just as overlooked as the lights, is tires. So you want to make sure that you've got good tread as well as good tire pressures because you'll get way more mileage out of your vehicle with a good tire pressure. So to check your tread, just run your finger through the tread, run your hand across it, make sure it's not too worn on one side compared to the other. This one still has tons and tons of tread. Logan likes to run all-terrain tires on her van. They're good on and off-road, and they handle well in the winter as well as the summer, so they're great tires. The tread is good, and now we want to check the tire pressures. So if you want to check your tire pressures, get yourself a small pen or small dial to check your tire pressure, it's tire gauge. In the case of Logan's tires, there's such high pressures that this is useless. So we can't use it. So what we're gonna use is our 12-volt compressor. That is this baby. So I keep this in my truck to keep my tire pressures up when I need to. And we also take it in the van when we go on trips. It's a great little thing, it runs off your 12-volt. So we're gonna go plug it in and we're gonna check our tire pressure. So we've got our positive lead, which is red. Put it on the battery terminal, make sure it's nice and tight there. And we take our negative lead, which is black, put it on the black part, which is our negative. So we're gonna go back over here to our compressor. I see the little lights on, I know I've got power to the unit. And now I'm going to take my tire cap off, slide this one on. So this is giving me a reading of just over 60 right now. You can see that, that's in pounds per square inch, PSI. Look on the side of your van. Most likely your van will tell you, or your truck will tell you what your tire pressures need to be. When you open the door, it'll be on the door seam. In the case of this van, it's just under the seat. It wants us to run 55 PSI up front and 80 in the rear. I run on this, well Logan and I run 60 PSI in the front and just under 80 in the rear. You basically find your pressures that work best for you. We're not going total factory, but we are keeping in mind. These tires are max 80 PSI. You don't want to go higher than that, you'll blow the tire. It's very dangerous, so just keep an eye on it. So we've put this on, we know we're at 60 PSI. If, let's say, we weren't at 60 PSI and we need to fill this up, get your air compressor you either have in your garage or get yourself a 12-volt air compressor and turn it on, fill it up to the tire pressure you need, take it off, put your stem on, and you're good to go. Make sure you go to all 4 tires, check all of them, and like I said, check what the van or truck needs and find what works best for you. Alrighty, so those are the 5 things that you can do yourself to check and make your van or home run for a long time. So we're gonna be doing this series in order to help you save money. It's gonna be checking really simple things that you can do yourself, and we might even go into a little bit more technical to help you out. So if there's something that you want to know in particular, comment below and ask us, and we'll show you how to do it. We're gonna be doing stuff like oil changes, checking our brake fluids, our brakes, stuff like that. So make sure to subscribe to check out all the new stuff we're doing, and we will see you very soon.